All right. So, okay, our next session is called the fourth quarter adjustments needed to make to win the game. And our presenter is Philip D'Souza, who's a longtime friend of ChannelPro's, and I'm sure known by many of you. Philip is a serial entrepreneur and cybersecurity pioneer with a passion for turning bold ideas into multi-million-dollar success stories. He founded Aurora IT and scaling it to a $30 million cybersecurity and compliance powerhouse, protecting government, financial, and enterprise clients. He's deeply involved in the IT channel and the community, and I can say for a fact that he's deeply involved in really making better opportunities for all of you. He participates in many ways with ChannelPro, and we're indebted for all that he brings to us. And so please welcome Philip to our stage today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This happens too often in my personal life. They bring me on with a mic, usually to clear the room at the end of the party, but now it's happening at ChannelPro, and actually Abhi just said, "Oh, Philip, I'm looking forward to it. You're the last one for the day." I'm like, okay. So, good evening. My job today is to sum up what we've been through here for the last, 24 hours. A little bit about me. Michael, thanks for that awesome introduction, and thanks for adding entrepreneur quickly to serial and not any other adjective. I founded Aurora 33 years ago, sold it 3 years ago. I enjoy public speaking on AI and risk mitigation right now. Have a SaaS company, mentor kids, coach executives, advisor. My bucket list, and I am throwing this out to the universe, and I did rub shoulders with Brad because he actually has been blessed by the Pope. So Pope and President, and to keep it apolitical, any Pope, any President. Most of my degrees are in finance, go figure. I do ride a Harley and founded Anithi. It's a nonprofit for underprivileged girls. I do this for fun. It's kids in India who've never, ever seen a computer in their lives, and we put them through 6 weeks of computer courses. Please do scan. I'd love to connect. I've connected with, I think, most of you in the room, but if there are a few I haven't, I look forward to engaging. So that should lead you to my LinkedIn. Why do we gather, right? You've been through this. You've been through ChannelPro events, and you've been to Disty events, and you've been through vendor events, and there's IT Nation, and there's a whole slew of, every time we're kind of, as I famously say, it's clinching body parts as to what's changing now, right? It's cybersecurity, it's threats, it's AI. However, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that you have moved out of the bubble and you will be rewarded for that doesn't change, right? It's the conversations in the room. It's this. And I'll give you a few stories that I've been hearing about, but this is what it's about. It's that one little conversation that you had that you take back to your team, and of course the vendor swag of high perceived value. Why does ChannelPro matter? Because these conversations are what I refer to as frictionless. Thanks to Marissa for introducing tequila with 3-letter acronyms, but it's a beautiful thing that I can say 0 ZTA or MSP or MSA or SAS, and people get it, and we don't spend the first half day trying to just align on that, right? These are our people, and that's where we're built for reality at ChannelPro. It's tactical, it's real stories, it's war stories, it's solutions. By the time we leave, and this never fails, I always end up with a guy for that, right? And so if a client asks me, hey, do you have someone? Yes, I do, if I go deep enough. And this is where those relationships are very strengthened, and the community is a big thing. So it's 4:30, and if you've not had your caffeine injection, I've got to keep you awake here, and so if you don't ask me questions, I will. How many of you here are leaning on peer groups or advisory boards? That's awesome. That's the view from here is, I would say, at least 60%. And I just want to be sure, peer groups means at least a day or two of immersion with your peers, right? And you're sharing everything, right? One of my success stories has been the Ingram Masterminds group. 10 years ago. It's 2 days every quarter in different geographies. And I see a few heads nodding, being familiar with the concept. But community is what drives success. It's the Starbucks syndrome, right? Starbucks and Coffee Bean and name your favorite coffee store, put up a line of coffee shops in the same mile for one reason, because we know that's where you're going to come for coffee. It's the concept of food courts. And that's exactly what's happening here, right? The more we're able to share information, the stronger it makes us. And so if there's anyone who hasn't done this yet, rely heavily on community, because someone here has seen that problem or is working on it or has already solved it. It's been a 24-hour blitz, right? Slides and conversations and QR codes. That's cool. How many QR codes have you scanned? It's probably a little over 24 hours ago, right here, Michael with a bottle of bourbon. And both Bob and I have our hopes up, right? We're like, okay, cool, we're going to get some. That went. It was downhill from that point on. But I was standing in line right behind James Thompson. James, where are you? Right. Take a bow, right? So I'm standing in line. You don't know this, but we're checking in. And James is telling his buddies, you know what? I've got my own personal LLM. And at that moment, I knew I was tagged into ChannelPro DEFEND Orlando, right? It's like we're going to have some great conversations. Any first-timers in the room? Wow, can you just stand up, please? And really, seriously, that many, please. You got to see this. Stand up, be recognized. You have earned... Guys, this is beautiful. All those emails asking for invitations from Jonathan has worked. You've earned your I've survived T-shirt, right? And we're sorry about the bourbon. Michael will make that up to you. The fine print? Where's Brad when we need him? There he is. Yeah. So guys, this is we're waiting for that one aha moment. And I'm going to call on the newbies because I want to know in the last 2 days, what was your one aha moment? Okay, and that's what makes this all worth it. It's that one little nugget that you heard that you're going to take back. Here's mine. Just when, I've finished yesterday, we've had a nice meeting with the vendors, come back fully charged this morning, got my coffee, got my breakfast, and what does Michael open up with? The number 10 billion. Am I right? Did I get that right? Trillion. I'm sorry. 10 trillion with a T. And Anjali pipes up from the back. It's going to be 18. Guys, this is beautiful times for all of you in cybersecurity, right? I know, FUD and everything else, but the potential is there. Cybersecurity is not going away. Threats are accelerating. There's AI coming in, to allude to something that Jay-Z wanted me to talk about. We're getting our arms around, not too long ago, right here we were talking about, and I am dating myself, we were talking about encryption being the be-all and end-all of solutions, PGP. Does anyone remember that? Okay, I mean, this company that wanted to conquer the world, hey guys, go encrypt it, the bad guys can't touch it, and it's the perfect solution for everything. And we went out and we started encrypting everything that moved, right? Except that to use it, you had to decrypt it, and that's when the bad guys got you, right? And then from that started the slippery slope of cybersecurity, and here we are with DLP and SAS and CASB and SASE, and I can go on and on and on and on and on with the 3 and now 4-letter acronyms. We're living in exciting times for ourselves as solution providers. There's a tremendous amount of potential. Marissa has made this point more than once yesterday and today, right? You've got to have structure. Frank alluded to it as well. You're not just shoving solutions. You've got to work to a framework. And I said this yesterday, and I'm going to repeat it today. Successive federal administrations are doing a better and better job at setting up frameworks. And it's one click away. Go get your favorite AI risk mitigation framework, get NIST, get your cybersecurity frameworks. They're all there. They're pretty good value for money that you can now set up, and you can start purveying your solutions through these frameworks to your customers. And you've got the power of someone bright, some CISO who's pretty brilliant, who's now working for the federal government, who's actually designed this and tested it out, and that's been our success. Automation and AI automation is dangerous. If you've got a mess on your hands, guess what you've done? You've just magnified it by trying to AI automate it, right? So first that was my lesson that I've heard in the conversations yesterday and today, that get your house in order first. Drink your own Kool-Aid. Make sure that when you're solving for tickets, when you're doing your medium-sized risk mitigation, when you're setting up your frameworks, that you've tested internally with your teams when you're doing your AI automation, and small bites, ladies and gentlemen. Leave the big conversations for the Thanksgiving dinner table as to we're going to conquer the world. But when it comes to your businesses, take on bite-sized solutions and take little pieces at a time so that we can be intentional in getting AI into your businesses, into your customers, having tested it for yourself. Brad Gross, this is a shout out to you. Make liability defendable, right? That was a strong message yesterday. And again, today, I like the feel, felt, found. The powers that be at ChannelPro would not let me add the fourth F word that Brad said, so we just pretend it's there. I'm kidding. Feel, felt, found. That was good, right? I've say it, Brad. Say it. Say it, please.
I understand how you feel. Many people have felt the way you do, but let me tell you what I felt.
Beautiful. Just brilliant. I mean, that conversation you connect. Especially the men that are on Mars from the room. Get in with your touchy-feely side and have that conversation with your customer. I think that opens the door, and that was well said. Retention beats acquisition. We know this, right? A customer, in hand is worth all those in the bush, and you are the subject matter experts. You build trust. Trust trumps any number of social media influencers in terms of the customers you have. I'm going to introduce you to one other concept just to make it worthwhile for the fact that you are here and I have your attention. We're talking about cybersecurity constantly. You're having the same conversations with your customers. Yesterday it was encryption. The day before, or let's take this morning, it was DLP. Today it's about AI and risk mitigation and everything else. I'm finding a lot of success with teams that are talking about cyber resilience. It happened in one of the panel discussions here briefly, but then they went down a rabbit hole. The concept is this. Dear customer, that's where it happened. It happened during the pitch sessions. Okay, and the four brave guys who came up here, well done. Eat your vegetables. Where's Abhi? Abhi's in the room? Yep, Abhi. Your analogy about comparing, the cybersecurity solutions to patients and doctors, I thought was amazing, right? What better way than to align with your potential customer than understanding your business? And here's a concept. Dear customer, eat your vegetables, right? Do everything that needs to be done in terms of frameworks, in terms of getting all your risk mitigation, get your gap analysis done, and this is a rinse and repeat. Understand that there's a certain pattern followed by any kind of potential threat. We're looking for anomalies. We're watching out. God bless the fact that we live on the end of the time zone cycle. So it happens somewhere, I don't know, in the islands of Hawaii first. And by the time it gets to us in Los Angeles, it's already, the threat's already been nullified. So the idea is this, that you are building teams and you're building cyber resilience for your organizations, right? And so when you create that and you're able to say, look, we are able to identify anomalies, we're able to solve problems for this, we're able to put solutions in, and we're going to constantly report, that builds cyber resilience. Sorry, it's late. And do look up the term. It's catching on. Anyone here practicing cyber resilience frameworks? There we go. Okay. James, you too. So since you were, can you give me a quick 30-second on what you're doing?
For me, it came out of the World Economic Forum when they first released cyber resilience. And it's true. You can't protect everything, but you can have a plan. And you basically first have to find the risk appetite of your customer, your priority of risk, what is the top risk they want to eliminate. And then you walk them through the stages of that plan. So not only are you consulting with them, you're empathizing with their situation, and you're guiding them through the process. But again, there's no one cure. It's a process, and it's best efforts and practice the recovery. So that's the most important part out of it. You know, you can have the best playbook in the world, but if you don't practice, it's not very good.
You had me at World Economic Forum. Absolutely right. Right? You cannot protect for everything. That was the point that the channel talent session was making, right? We can't walk up to dear CFO of large hospital. By the way, I was in one of those conversations, and it's public knowledge, but the hospital is the Whittier Intercommunity Hospital, WIH. December, it's a $1 billion organization. They had their largest ransomware attack in December. Jan end, I'm sitting in the room with the board of directors. We're not pitching anything, we're just listening, and I was in an advisory capacity. I mean, my hands were sweaty and my pulse was about 180, but that what you saw here was a glimpse of what actually happens for real. And there is no way to say, dear customer, we got you 100%. Resilience is the way to go. I like World Economic Forum because just recently at this last Davos event, they started what they call the cybersecurity futures. And they took 18 people from the globe, about 9 of them are here from the US, and they're open to conversations with all of us. I've tested it, they're quick to respond, they talk about just a unified strategy for cybersecurity resilience, and I urge all of you, I'd love to see more hands go up. When's our next meeting? Is it Ohio? Would love to see some more hands go up as you understand the concept. It's still a bitter pill, but it's slightly easier for your customers to swallow that than to say, oh, now I need a budget for this, this, and this, right? It fits better in the cyber resilience concept. So what do we do? What are the adjustments we need, right? Frank, again, talked about this in a session yesterday. We've got to stop with, not really stop, we understand, we get it, right? It's the mechanic analogy that he used, products and oil and filters and all of that, and start selling the outcomes. It's about what your customer wants. Your customer wants to be able to sleep soundly, and that's all, right? And if we can say, look, we're doing 100% everything in the morning, we wake up and our teams are aligned and we want you to sleep soundly, dear customer, you've got them. We've got to install confidence, right? And you have the big burly guy in the room and say, look, he's my security guy, and everyone breathes a sigh of relief, right? We know that that's who you are, that's who we are. We are the solution providers, right? We move from visibility to trust, and trust creates stickiness. Our customers are not waking up and saying, oh, gee, I'm looking for a new MSP. One of the best things we do is we sell this recurring income solutions. They're stuck with us. It's very difficult to take solutions like encryption and rip and replace them. Decrypting alone adds up by the hour, by the machine. And so you're there, it's your gig to lose. And so you're in a business that's extremely sticky, and all you've got to do is, not all you've got to do, but you've got to stay proactive. Communication rhythm, I find, is very important. Patrick Thien has written a book called Rhythm. Has anyone in this room read it? Wow. Okay. Look it up. Rhythm is basically about communication for your teams internally and externally. And it says internally, you have a stand-up meeting with your team every day for just 15 minutes. Stand up. Anyone in the room do stand-up meetings with the entire team? Impressive. That's the best thing you do. I've had employees who've been with me for 30 years. And when they retired, they're like, look, one of the best things we did was this 15-minute stand-up meeting, because while on Monday we talked about business, on Tuesday we talked about likes and preferences and hopes and dreams, and on Wednesday we checked in on our business, but on Thursday again we talked about, I know about, hey, this is where I'm going with the grandkids for a vacation, or the kids, and you learn things about it. So the Rhythm talks about daily 15-minute stand-up meeting. Have a weekly for lack of a better word, I refer to it as a 3M, a Monday morning meeting, and that's with the C-suite or the managers to check in, right? To check in on production, to check in on sales, to check in on marketing, to check in on ops. How many in this group, you probably do this already. On Mondays, do you meet with your team leaders? A few show of hands, right? So it's a weekly, it's a daily. You've got your hand up for, that's pretty cool. Weekly, you start with your daily stand-ups. You do your weekly Monday morning meetings. You do your quarterly QBRs internally. That's a dangerous thing. Imagine getting your team together and saying, look, this is where we're going to go. And as Aurora was growing, I tried that. One of my lead engineers, brilliant guy by the name of Denon Monks, who was later kidnapped by Symantec, actually said, Philip, I want a helipad on the top of the building. I'm like, kidding? He's like, no, we want Aurora to be this big 15-story building in downtown LA, but those are BHAGs, right? Those are big, hairy, audacious goals that drive your team, and so be it, right? And let them share. And if they feel comfortable sharing this, you know you've got a strong team to go forward, right? So that's what Rhythm's all about, having these meetings and an annual assessment, build that into your performance appraisals, create your North Star for your team. You're with an aligned team, you can now take the same pattern and move it on to your customers. So communicating rhythm is very important. Communicate predictively and proactively so they know. Use everything. Use your tickets, use your assessments, use any kind of feedback that you're looking at for a moment to talk to your customer. Brad said it, right? Why do MSPs get sued? For silence. That's it. Communicate actively. Now, it's not only important to talk, it's important to translate into layman's terms. We're very good at the 3 and 4 letter acronyms, and the customer can glaze over, right? We're not trying to impress our customer with our skills in terms of the knowledge that we have, but to understand their business. It's about them. And that's where the translation is, and that's where I've used my blind man and the elephant, right? Don't take pieces of the elephant. Define the whole elephant when you're talking to your customers. And misaligned value, if there was one theme for this event, has come up frequently, right? It's all about, hey, this is who we are, this is our value. Explain it, measure against it. This is what we're doing, dear customer, we're proving to you. And, I'll let you borrow this one, Brad. If your customers are only hearing about you during the time of a breach, it's way too late, right? It's like the bankers who are giving you an umbrella when it's raining and taking it away when there's sunshine. Third adjustment, again, we've talked about this in the past. You're not just support and monitoring, you are risk advisors. We are risk advisors. Right? We are subject matter experts. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, I have hung with the best of them, right? And everyone puts on their pants one leg at a time. The most brilliant of cybersecurity strategists are all the same. We're in the same business, and puff your chest out a little bit as you're sorry about that, Matt. As you're talking to your customers, go out there. Look, I have this, dear customer. If I don't have this, I've got a half a dozen vendors who have met a ChannelPro who've got this. And if they don't have it, I've got at least 100 MSPs on my team who have this. We got you, right? We are the risk advisors. I'm not going to bore you with the details, but it's MSAs and security level services and responsibilities. Document, 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 document. Last but not least, practice on yourselves. Okay? It's about the team, right? It's about the mindset. This was in one of the breakout sessions. Security is a mindset. It's a culture. If your engineer is sending out usernames and passwords in the same email to his customer to onboard him, ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem, right? We've got to practice this internally. This happened to me yesterday, okay? It's not as uncommon as one would think. It's crazy. By a renowned vendor. You've got to live and practice what you preach, accountability, training, the ownership mindset. And guess what? You could have the most brilliant practice, right? 700 endpoints, everything humming along nicely. You are only as good as that one, very cranky customer who can't get can't log in, right? That's when it all falls apart. So maintaining that culture is critical. I brought this out of one of the breakout sessions because it was, again, Frank Marino that created this challenge. It's a 90-day challenge. If there's one thing that you do is take this is a takeaway. I believe this is also on the ChannelPro website. Anjali is giving me a thumbs up on that. So this may be in the goodie bag or in the link, and it's pretty cool to try it out on one customer, just one, and see how it works, because that's what the cadence is about. I'll let you scan this, and if you don't get it in time before I hit the next click, it is on the ChannelPro website. Hopefully it works. And just to sum it up all, right, you know this already. You just need a gentle reminder and a gentle, push off the edge of the pier. We're not just fixing computers. We're protecting livelihoods. We're running economies. We're keeping people working. Ingram does a pretty cool thing that I'm sure ChannelPro does too. It's just the GDP in this room, would be pretty impressive, right? It's the millions and millions of dollars of business that we directly control through ourselves, through our communities, and through our vendors. So, ladies and gentlemen, go big and go win the game. And I ended with this because we've got about 4 minutes for questions, comments. This Mobius strip is pretty cool. It's the finish line, but it's a never-ending finish line. That's our lives, right? Just when you get it right, you've got to stop and start all over again. So congratulations and welcome to the club, and we're in this together. That's a link again to my LinkedIn. Questions, comments,
Any
kudos?
questions? The microphones are here.
Complaints.
Complaints. If
No,
there's a complaint, his name is Brad.
Not
Gross.
enough, yeah, exactly. Brad, B-R-A-D. Okay, I promised that I would ask questions. So I know that you said you're first timer. One aha moment.
So I'm a huge data nerd, and I loved the advice to figure out how to put it into a story, because I always have trouble translating it, and it's always, how do I make it pretty and easy to read, but never really thought about putting it into a relatable story to.
Yeah,
really
I thought that was a good
That was
one too,
genius,
right?
yeah.
Then you get the customer's guard down, and storytelling always worked. It even worked for Jesus, right? So cool. Anyone else? First timers. I'm going to pick on the first timers and those avoiding eye contact with me.
Come on, don't be shy.
One more. There were, yeah,
we
right
go.
there. I need an aha moment. Something that you said, wow, this is all worth it.
An aha moment for me was when adding to our quotes the MSA agreement and this user manual. I think that's something I really took away for the event. Thank you, Mr. Lawyer.
Yep, Brad, take a bow. Yeah. No, seriously, I've.
Thank Quality, I'd like to thank HBO.
And guys, if the one thing you do, take him up on his offer. We've been hanging around in similar circles for the last 10 years. He puts his money where his mouth is, and he will take at least the first call, and then after that, he's gone golfing. Yes, please.
This is my first ever conference, so I learned a ton, which was really good. I think the aha moment for me was like meeting a ton of people in my field and meeting similar minds. I think makes me feel like some sort of community, and that people of outreach can help me educate myself in the field more and just grow more, not only as a person, but also in cybersecurity as well.
Well said. Very well said. Yeah. It's, I came in here yesterday, I was sitting across that guy right there. Bob, stand up and take a bow. Right, and we connected, right? We don't know each other, but we're sharing war stories at that table, and this is community. This is family, and I know that, thanks to the power of a QR code and scan, he is a phone call away if I need something, right? And that's good. Yes, please, Michael.
If I may, my own aha moment.
Yeah, please.
So we've been doing these since 2012. Actually, Orlando was the very first ChannelPro event. And back then, the first event, even the first couple of events that we put on, the people in the room were really kind of tight. Like they felt like they were in the room among competitors and maybe the enemy. And there wasn't a lot of sharing because people were afraid to open up. But over the years, and including today, it is such an even people come in much more relaxed, and I'm hoping looking for a local partner to help you grow your businesses together. So So that's been one of the most rewarding things I know I've seen at our events over the years. Is just that community was a good word, but partnerships. I mean, come in, maybe you don't know anybody, but when you leave here, you better know 20 people because some of them are going to help you grow your business.
Thank you. And I want to take up that full 15 minutes that I have left for a few PSA announcements. Men over 45, get your prostate exams and your colonoscopies. But that's not the most important thing. Get your privacy policy done, please. Make sure that at every website you ever see, privacy policies are glued on with super glue. That's number one. Number two, find a community. Anyone just give me some names of your favorite peer groups that you've been part of. The gentleman in the hat, the Texan. True Peer. Anyone else? Yes, please. Max 8. Max 8. Wow. Okay. Awesome. And any DISTI peer groups? Not that I'm pitching it, but they're easily accessible. Anyone else? We will end with that. Thank you very much for your time, ladies and gentlemen. Until the next one.